Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. This is episode number 263 in Doubleshot 195, okay? First up is Superior Iron Man Volume 1, and this is going to be the one coming out. This one, Infamous. There is another book, and I have it on order right now, so I'm going to review that one soon. This one collects the first 5 issues of this 9-issue series. Why did it only last 9 issues? Despite the fact that it was playing potential storyline here. Canceled because of Secret Wars. That's the only reason why. Not because of those sales, because of Secret Wars. Now, the whole point of this series was to redeem the Iron Man title after the very mixed and negative reception that Karen Gillian dragged the book through. Basically, Tom Taylor, who was the writer of this, and the artist, there's 2 different artists in here. There is Yildre Counter, who does the first 4 issues, and Laura Baraga, who does issue 5. Now, there are 2 particular storylines. There's 2 arcs. There's 2 stories in here, okay? First, of course, first 3 issues of this book are tie-ins to the event Access, where basically, now the reason why Tony Stark is like this, like, oh yeah, I'm a superior, the reason why that is because they decided to switch him where he's evil. Yeah. Like, I've heard somebody like, yeah, welcome back to a Tony Stark. He was like, whenever you issues this series, like, Tony Stark is a dick. Dick Tony. Yep. The first 4 issues is simply Iron Man versus Daredevil. That's simply what the storyline is. Just them fighting. And of course, there's new Stark Tower in here. Let me show you some artwork in here. Yeah, here's some artwork, and basically this spins off of a one-shot issue of one of the issues from Access. I don't remember which issue number it was. It might have been issue 4 or 5 where he goes up to San Francisco and unleashes it, and he unleashes Extremis Mark III. Makes everyone nice and pretty. Yep. And this little story lasts the whole series. Now, of course, in issue 1 they introduce this character called Teen Abomination, and after the first issue he disappears. He doesn't return a couple issues later, and he basically becomes a regular character in the series. He appears in pretty much almost every single issue except for issue 2. Shio shows up for 1 issue, of course, because all the stuff he was doing in the first issue, and said he was some C-list villain. Of course, he gets Origins are also in here as well. Yeah, the whole thing with Tony Stark, like that, the whole thing that he's actually evil, that doesn't reveal like last issue, but yeah, gotta love this cover. Yeah. That's one thing I do love about this. It's a great cover. Of course, also in here during the whole Iron Man versus Daredevil storyline, Daredevil briefly sees again. Now, does this affect anything that goes on the pages of Daredevil? Which, by the way, at this point, Daredevil was in San Francisco at this point in time. So, of course, this was coming out. These issues, like the last issue, this came out like a year ago. So, yeah. The last issue is simply the origin story of Team Abomination and figure out who his father is. And his father is Happy Hogan. And according to Tony, one of the very few people he actually cared about. Now, some people were quite happy he was not made to be Tony's son because it would not make much sense. But Tony should at least have a kid somewhere because he slept with a bunch of women over the years. So I don't see why. Now, I get maybe Team Abomination not being his kid, but he could at least have a kid somewhere. Somebody's got to at least inherit his fortune when he dies. Honestly, I don't know how Tony Stark is supposed to be in the comics. I would say, if I were the point, I would say he's in his early to mid 30s. That's my guess. I don't know. It's just a possibility. He's not a young guy anymore. Any references stuff happens in like the issues that came back in the 70s, like when he fought this guy called Lame Dama, called the Lama, where he's some sorcerer, happened like issue like 112, 113-ish. Apparently, at this point in time, it happened 8 years prior. Okay, at least that Tony Stark has acknowledged that he's been Iron Man for a while. How long do I think he's been Iron Man? As of right now, 15, 16 years tops. Probably nearly 20. I don't know how long in storyline in the way Marvel's fluctuating timeline works of how long he's been Iron Man for, but my guess is nearly 20 years. That's just my guess. But this is still really good. Highly recommend these issues. Highly recommend this trade, especially people who didn't like Karen Gillan's trade. His run. You gotta try Tom Taylor stuff. 9 out of 10. Awesome. Next up, Amazing Spider-Man Worldwide Volume 1. Collecting the first 5 issues, written by Dan Slott and artwork by Gustavi Kamiko. I think it's how you pronounce his first name. I don't know. But the covers all done by Alex Ross. This was one of 2 series that the covers for the courses for all the different Avengers. Now, I did a rant video recently, basically of Dan Slott's recent work. Now, this storyline, these issues right here, out of all 14 issues, these 5 the only ones are actually really good. Because after this, the book goes completely downhill after this. He goes very different places. Of course, he explains what happened with the Baxter building where he purchased it and now becomes the New York office for Parker Industries, which Human Torch gets upset about that. He goes very different places, and you see regions. You see Bill for him, which, okay, why the heck is he here? I keep thinking, though, what is so interesting about regions, and how in the world is he able to have several villains under control? Basically, yeah, like what Slott did with Superior Spider-Man, have a story like this, sit on it for a while before finally doing anything with it. And of course, see the return of the Lizard, the Rhino returns in here, along with Norman Osborn. Yeah. And the Prowler. Yeah, the Prowler returns. And here's something quite dumb about this. This is the only time he shows up. And after this, it's like Slott forgets about him. Because he's supposed to be posing as Spider-Man basically whenever like you have Spider-Man and Peter in the same place, so people can't point out that Spider-Man is Peter Parker. So hobby filling for him. So yeah. Here's some more artwork. And of course, there is a reference to the Ends of the Earth storyline that happens in here too. With a flashback to it, possibly seeing the death of the Rhino. And of course, see the a new Zodiac appearing here, which they're okay in here, but when they return, Slott makes them extremely boring. I'm not kidding. But these issues are still good. I give these a 9 out of 10, but it goes downhill right after this. Okay? Alright, oh, I almost forgot. Max Mandel marries his partner, and he and his partner Hector operate the West Coast branch of Parker Industries. And get this, Peter purchased the name Horizon from Liz Allen and renamed the school that he said was like future stuff. Renamed it the Parker Institute of Technology to Horizon University, and he gave it to them as a wedding present. Which, okay, even though he couldn't get the technology and all that stuff from Horizon, like the rest stuff from Horizon Labs, but he got the name, which I got to admit, that's actually really smart for him to do. And of course, Son Jeffers, they get rid of, Slott gets rid of her, which, okay, that's fine, because the thing is, Slott has done virtually almost nothing with this character. He's barely developed this character, and this character's been around in the comics for at least at this point in time for 5 years, and he's barely done anything with the character. I mean, the only thing kind of development he's done with the character was making her co-vice president of Parker Industries. That was it. And of course, here she says she's in charge of the European branch. Okay, and apparently she took Anna Marie and the Living Brain with her. Okay, and it's also revealed when they show the Living Brain for the first time in here that Dr. Octopus, after a recent upgrade, Dr. Octopus is in control of the Living Brain's body. Yeah. So that's what comes to that. Not much else for that one. So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be 264 and Doubleshot 1 and 196. Okay? See you there. Bye.